I am Cleopatra, an Egyptian pharaoh who was important in history for her intelligence and beauty. My husband's name was Marco Antonio. I had 4 children. I died when I was 30 years old. I committed suicide with the bit of a cobra after being defeated by Octavio's army. If Cleopatra hadn't been intelligent and beautiful, she wouldn't have become pharaoh. If Cleopatra hadn't been pharaoh, she wouldn't have learned to read hieroglyphs. If Cleopatra hadn't been bitten by a cobra, she wouldn't have died young. If Octavian hadn't defied Cleopatra, he wouldn't have committed suicide. Nice to meet you.
Hello, I am Anne Frank. I was born on June 12 of 1929 and died on March 1945. My father is Otto Heinrich Frank and my mother Edith Frank. I wrote a diary from the 2 years I was hiding. If I hadn't written the paper, no one would know my history. If I hadn't written the paper, know so much about the Nazis. We wouldn't know so much about the Nazis.
Hello, I am Queen Elizabeth. I was born on September 7 of 1533 and died on March 24 of 1603. My father was Henry VIII and my mother Anna Boulena. If I hadn't his daughter, I wouldn't have been the queen. I was the Queen of England and Ireland. If hadn't established the Protestant Church of Rome, it wouldn't be the highest authority.
Hi, I am Maya. I'm an American writer, poet, singer, and civil rights activist. I was the one who fought for the rights of American citizens. I practiced many professions until I got here, but in the end, I got it, and I'm internationally recognized. If I hadn't worked in the civil rights, people of United States wouldn't have liberties and rights. I have finished.
If I hadn't been a missionary, people couldn't have had a better life. If I hadn't helped the children, they wouldn't have eaten. If I hadn't cared for the sick, they would die. If I hadn't taught to the children, they wouldn't learn concepts.
Dolores Clara Fernandez Huerta was born in Dawson. She is an American trade unionist, co-founder and first vice president emerita of the Farm Workers of America. If she hadn't founded the community service organization, she wouldn't have thought of economic improvement. If she hadn't the opportunity to see the conditions in which the private workers lived, she wouldn't have been able to help him. If she hadn't been an advocate for farm workers' rights, she wouldn't have been arrested 22 times.
This son comes from a prestigious family and has strong ties to his community. Although he spent much of his life secluded at home, after studying for 7 years at Armed Academy, she first attended Mount Holyoke Women's Seminary. If he hadn't done this, he would have mastered poetry. Before returning to the family home in Amsterdam, his neighbors considered her eccentric. If they hadn't thought that she would have been more sociable, She had a predilection for always wearing white clothes. She was known for refusing to receive requests and, in the last year of her life, for not even waiting to leave her room. Dixon never married, and most of her friends depended entirely on her correspondence. In the privacy of her home, Dixon was a prolific poet. However, not a closing of his nearly 118 poems were published during his lifetime. If she had this, she would have been more recognized. The work published during his lifetime was significantly updated by publishers adapting it to the poetic genre and convention of the times. However, Dixon's poems are unique compared to those of his contemporaries. They contain short lines, generally tilted, contain imperfect consonant rhymes, half rhymes, and unconventional punctuation. Many of these poems focus on themes related to death and immortality, two of them recurring themes in the letter he sent to his friends.